Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Hyde Park Hangout. KO, how you doing?
Doing fantastic and really pumped and excited for today's interview. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
we're
awesome.
excited to have X1, the gamer, on from the community. X1, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I think I'm more excited. I'm a little bit nervous because I've been excited to join you guys. When you reached out, I was like, yes, finally, I get to join the ninjas. So
Well, man, I know we've met, both years and 2 years at Genesis Week, and we've really enjoyed getting to meet you there, and of course we followed you and through Upland all these years and stuff. So yeah, it's just awesome, and exciting to have you on.
yeah,
Yeah, for
good to
sure.
be here. Thank you very much for the invite.
All right. Well, KO, what do you want to get into? I know we got a lot of questions, obviously, for X1, and then we've got a lot going on in Upland right now, for sure. So, super excited about the roadmap. I know we did have a little bit of unfortunate news about the event in Vegas that we usually have, the Genesis event. And I think KO had some good, really good questions on that. We'll try to cover that and get started.
Well, the first thing, whenever we have a guest on, we always have to know if they have ever trained in martial arts before, or or had any martial arts experience. So, X1, do you have any martial arts experience?
Very little. So when I was in seventh and eighth grade, I did 2 years of BJJ, and um, it was a blast. It was at the very beginning, so UFC didn't really exist yet, but the Gracie brothers were huge. It was like at the start of that. So there
Yep.
was a guy in our neighborhood that was really into it and taught it and grew up doing it. So I joined in for 2 years. My kids though are into jujitsu. I have an 8-year old, a 6-year old, and a 4-year old, and all three of them are in. They go every single day. I actually think it's one of. So I grew up playing sports. I went to college playing sports, and I think there is no other sport that is as good for self confidence, discipline, life lessons as jujitsu. I think it's the if you have a kid, for instance, that suffers from depression, you have a kid that's a little bit unsure of himself, jujitsu, I think solves all that. I absolutely love it. So I know very few things from my seventh and eighth grade experiences. I can do an arm bar, and I can do what is it, like a monkey choke? I think it's called with the. But yeah, that's my limit there.
Well, if we could hire you, X1, to promote martial arts for our schools, because you were just like you just said like all the perfect things right there,
Perfect.
all the things that we believe in. So that's awesome. That's super cool. I'm glad that that you got to train some jujitsu. Your kids are training jujitsu at such a young age. It's just going to be like natural to them once they get older, and they're not going to have to. It's going to be muscle memory,
Oh
So
yeah,
that's
you
awesome.
just don't even think about it. There's a few sports like that, like wrestling. I think is as valuable as well. In fact, every night before my kids go to bed, they have to show me one of their moves. Like that's like, what's the latest move? Got to show me it, practice on it. So it's a lot of fun.
It's funny you say that because I always encourage our kids, some of them don't have like a brother or sister at home to practice with. And I try to encourage them, go home and show it to your parents because when they do that, it's just an extra step to helping remember the technique that they learned that day.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it's what's coolest about jujitsu is watching your kids start and be really awkward and slow with a move or especially like a more technical move, and then seeing them over time. It like you said, it just becomes muscle memory and master it. And I think that's part of what leads to the confidence of kids knowing that hey, if I practice something, I can master it, and that just has so much positive attributions for the rest of life. The next thing that I want to get my kids into as they get older is striking, though.
Hmm.
Um, I've looked at boxing and stuff. Boxing is so expensive though, and very few quality gyms out there for boxing. But striking is the
Yep.
next one. But jujitsu is such a good foundational base level. At least I think it is. With my layman's knowledge of it, that I you know I've gotten all my neighborhood kids into it as well. So it's been pretty good.
Next one's
Well,
going to have a UFC ring in his backyard before he knows it.
Yeah, exactly. I know
Just
we've
make
actually
sure it's
had
a
that
Hyde Park
debate.
one.
Well, we've had that debate because my son is pretty good and he's really into it. He's only 6, obviously, and,
Mhm.
my wife is like, "He's never allowed to do, like, UFC," and I was like, "No, it would be awesome." Like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool. We could talk jujitsu for the next 3 hours. So,
Yeah.
I absolutely love talking about that. So, but if we can, we'll segue into some upland stuff.
Sure.
And yeah, so starting, well, let's get the hard questions out of the way first, and then get to some fun stuff. We got uh, so for let me start with uh, some silver linings because the upland community was emotional, and I think that that shows how much people care, right? They really care about this game. They love this game. If the emotions weren't high, if people didn't care, um, the announcement came out and it was like, whatever. It shows that the care's in there. So first of all, I think that the Upland community is so passionate about Upland. We just love it, and it was um, for the people that go to Genesis Week, we're super disappointed. However, there's thousands of people that don't get to go to Genesis Week that I think that we can uh, reach better. So anyway, we'll get to that. But starting up X1, like what were kind of some of the main factors that led to not being able to hold Genesis Week this year? Yeah, what were some main things that led to that?
Yeah. So first, I'd just like to start off by saying that I agree. I think that we did see a lot of passion coming out of players who have attended Genesis Live, and I'll probably be taken out of context for saying this, so don't take me out of context. But we actually viewed that passion, and we saw some of the frustration, passion out there as honestly a little bit as a compliment. Like, oh, right, players who have come have enjoyed Genesis Live so much that they, this is a huge disappointment to them, and it's a huge disappointment to us for this year for sure. It doesn't mean that Genesis Live is gone forever. It's absolutely not. There were a lot of things out of our control this year that made us make the final decision that I don't think Genesis Live is, or we don't think Genesis Live rather, is something that we can put on in good faith that would be better. If anybody that's been, I mean, you guys have been to the last two, correct? You guys were not at the first one, the first Genesis Live.
Correct.
That
Uh,
was the one we missed. Yep.
okay, everyone that has been to Genesis Live, if you've been to all three, you will know that each year it has improved. Each year it's gotten better, and it's done. Each year, your value that you get for going, like we try to give as much value. It's a huge cost for us, and that's on purpose. We want to give back to those who can come in person and those who sacrifice and spend the money to come. And every year it's increased in value. Ultimately, there were a few things that led to the decision to take the time off this year to do Genesis Live. One of those things was there was something behind the scenes that I can't talk about, but something behind the scenes that we were trying to finalize that we weren't able to ultimately finalize in time for Genesis Live. That was the big crutch. Had that thing happened, uh, even then, had that thing happened, Genesis Live, we were looking at, okay, every year it improves, which also means every year, don't know if you guys know this, every year since year one, we've been able to increase the attendance of Genesis Live. That's a
Awesome.
mission that's very important to us. There's no point in putting on a regular live in-person event if it declines in attendance each year. The amount of work that goes into that is absolutely huge. And here's an example of something that's out of our control. We Upland doesn't operate in a vacuum, unfortunately. I wish we did. It would make life so much easier. There are macroeconomic conditions that we have experienced the last 3 years and then leading into this year that actually it doesn't make a lot of sense that Genesis Live should have even happened. While we were doing Genesis Live every year, putting on this live event, increasing it, getting more players to come, uh, the market has not been in a good place the last 4 years. You have entire companies, entire development teams being shuttered at the same time that we're putting on this live event and increasing the attendance every year. And I think that speaks to the value of Upland. I think that speaks to the value of the community of Upland. In the Web3 space, there is honestly nobody that has the community that Upland has. And that's not just a qualitative statement, that's a quantitative statement too. When you look at numbers, there's nobody that has the real players that Upland has in our space. So we've been operating Genesis Live in macroeconomic conditions, global economic conditions, where the rest of the gaming space has been closing shop. So I think it's been a huge success that we've been able to pull that off the last 3 years. Unfortunately, this year, things just lined up in such a way that we weren't able to do that. Number one, we weren't able to finalize this thing that we were working on the back end to finalize. Number two, we took a look at, okay, can we continue to grow the amount of players that come this year? And the answer there was probably not. It's just the reality. Inflation, while inflation has been going down, I think the last 2 months in a row, it's the first time in 4 years that has happened. It's still not to a point where it would make sense. Fun fact, every year that we've put on Genesis Live, it's actually been more expensive the next year for our players to attend. Not from anything we can control. The price of Genesis Live tickets has not changed. That's not something that has changed. But the price for plane tickets, for instance, every year has gone up. So every year, to increase the amount of players that have come, it's like 2 or 3 times the effort of the previous year. And this year would have been the most expensive year for players to come. And when you just combine all of that, it's not, we just made the decision, okay, let's take this year off. Let's regroup. We really do. I saw some analysis of our announcement yesterday of players saying, well, if you think the economy is going to improve in the next 14 months, then that's foolish. It's definitely not. No, we actually do think it's going to improve. And everyone in Silicon Valley believes that. Everybody in Silicon Valley, is excited for the next 3 years, for instance. So under that, we said, let's take the time off. Let's make sure that when we come back, we can be bigger and better than ever. One of the critiques that I've seen that actually I want to address is I've seen a few players suggesting, well, why not just scale back Genesis Live? We just want to meet players in person. Why not just scale back? That's honestly just not an option for us for a couple reasons. Number one, for our own personal goals, it's not an option for us. We have made Genesis Live better and bigger every year. If we're not going to do that, there's no point in doing that. Or if we're not able to do that, there's no point in doing that. Second of all, the same players suggesting, or the same people suggesting that, oh, we just scale back, just get a room and we can just meet up. If we were to do that, logically speaking, if we were to do that, those are the same people that would come back and say, oh, guys, this year's Genesis Live was terrible. It was not as good. Look at the last year's was way better. What about what's happening to Upland? Is Upland on the way out? Is Upland declining? No, this sucked. I don't know if I'm going to go back to a Genesis Live. So it's honestly, scaling back is just not an option. We're going to do it. We're going to do it bigger and better than ever, or we're not going to do it at all. So those are, I'm not sure that there's anything there that I added contextual, context wise as to what's in the announcement. I'd highly recommend everyone go read the announcement. With as far as us dropping it on the Thursday, I think we did before April Fools. The timing is unfortunate. Absolutely. We did try to say, guys, this is not an April Fool's joke. We are serious here. We wouldn't do that. But the reason we wanted to get it out as soon as possible is that quite literally, I think we found out the day before that we weren't able to finalize the things we were working on. And or it might have been 2 days before. And so we had to put together the announcement. Is there anything, do we even need this finalized thing? And then we decided to pull the trigger. We let players know as soon as possible. This is not something that we knew about a year in advance. It's not something we knew about 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago. We literally knew about it the minute that we announced it. And we wanted to get it out there. We needed to get out there because we were seeing players, hey, I'm getting my ticket. I'm getting my hotel room. We cannot have players doing that. So we tried to get it out. The timing was unfortunate. Absolutely. We absolutely apologize. We know it's disappointing. We're disappointed by it. But we're very excited and optimistic and very much looking forward to Genesis Live coming back in the future for sure. You want to hear an interesting statistic actually about Genesis Live?
Absolutely.
And this is just proof positive that every year it has increased in scope and scale and value for players. 64%. And this number holds true from year one, or it doesn't hold true for year one because year one, everyone is brand new. But for year 2 and 3, this number remained consistent, which was really interesting. 64% of players who came year 1 came in year 2. About 40% of the players that attended year 2 were brand new players. And we were able to increase that total number of players who attended from year 1 to year 2. From year 2 to year 3, same. It was about 64% of players who came had attended either year 1 or year 2, and about 40% were new players. And again, we were able to increase the total number of players who came those years. So I just think it shows Genesis Live is amazing. and it's going to be amazing when it returns in the future. And we're very excited about it. It just there were a couple things out of our control this year, excuse me, that were unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Well, we appreciate you, acknowledging all those things. We can attest that Upland Genesis Live is just so much fun. We were part of those returning statistics there, and we just had such a great time and meeting everybody. Um, the vibe, the energy at the event, man, everybody's just pumped, and then you get to hang out with everyone afterwards and go party or whatever it is that people do. But appreciate you acknowledging that, and I think the community appreciates it as well. And we'll move onward and look forward to the next ones. So I didn't see anything in chat on. I didn't see any questions or anything. Essie, did you have anything left on that?
I don't think so. I mean, that really covers it. We really appreciate you taking the time to, talk to everybody about that. And, things happen, and that's kind of the way it is in business in general. I know from owning a business, we deal with that stuff daily, monthly, weekly. So
Yeah, it's I mean, again, like I said, we're very excited for, when it does come back, but we are exploring any suggestions that anyone has. We are looking at ways, how do we improve it? Is there anything we can change? How do we make it sustainable? So it is something that we're excited about. So please let us know. Give us your suggestions. We had some big plans for this year, on efficiency, and also every year we've kind of handed off a little more and more to the community, for those in person. Whether it's giving panels or game. Last year we had a game show hosted by Left House, who's a community member, which was awesome. We have, year one we didn't have booths at all. Year 2 and 3 we had booths for players to check out, and stuff like that. So, overall, it's really good. Another talking point, by the way, that I just like to bring up, that has I've seen come up a few times, and I don't blame anyone for holding this. If you don't know, you don't know. But one of the talking points is, well, they shouldn't fly all their staff there. That's a huge cost. It's like a drop in the bucket to the total cost of first of all, our entire staff doesn't come from around the world. Really, it's the leadership team and, people who have direct involvement with Genesis Live. I would say it's, maybe 20 members of staff total. And it's like less than 1% of the total budget of Genesis Live. So that's also something that's just a
I,
misconception.
I can also attest to that because we got done with, some people were saying that Upland makes money on the event. After the first year, I think about 3 seconds of math, and you realize, Upland is not making money on this event. They are doing this for the the love of the community. I mean, between the food and the drinks and the open bar and the room, um, man, it was just a great event. And for the price, which I got the early bird for $85, I think the regular tickets were 100 or something like that.
Mhm. The general mission,
You
yeah.
get incredible value for that. You get swag. I mean, so I 100% believe that and know that, definitely was not a profit generator.
Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely shouldn't be either. Like, it should be exactly what it is, and it's something we're very proud of. Um, and we're just as disappointed as the community are. We obviously, regret perhaps our first announcement. We could have explained more of that. We honestly were just rushed. We got to let players know as soon as possible. So hindsight's 2020. And we'll move forward from there. But again, Genesis Live, it's not permanently shuttered at all. And when it comes back, it'll be bigger and better than ever. So
awesome. Well, I think
Well, a little
we did
more.
miss a couple questions, KO. I know Dizzy Diskey. He's I think a pretty decent sized player, I would say. So Dizzy had a question about the
sure.
Upland financials. How are the Upland financials?
I mean, they're fine. I can't speak to,
Yeah,
nor am I in a position to talk, in specifics. That's not something that I think any company really discloses. But it definitely, was not a consideration in the Genesis Live. It literally was something that we were trying to finalize on the backside. And then, could we get enough players there this year, given everything that's happened? And could it be bigger and better than ever? And if players don't come, let's say we get 50 less players, that same vibe that you felt last year, it's going to be very hard to replicate this year. It has to be an increase every year, or it just can't happen.
Okay, the Metaverse Street Journal was asking about a Genesis Live in Dubai.
That'd be fun. I've
That
never
would be
been to
fun.
Dubai. I hear it's awesome. It looks awesome. That would be a ton of fun.
I had the unique chance to go to Dubai. Actually, this Yoda picture is I bought in Dubai, which was a crazy story, different time.
Yeah,
Um,
in case you guys didn't see all the new artwork on KO's wall back there, he actually did a little decorating finally. I was shocked. I almost fell out of my chair when I pulled it up.
well, X1 was coming on. It was kind of like, your parents coming over and you got to clean up real quick and make it look good. And so, yeah, it only took me 2 years. So, but we got there.
All right, I think the last question that was overlooked that came through once or twice, will we ever know what that big thing was that wasn't finalized in time?
One day, yes.
Okay.
um, a little more fun topic. So virtual Genesis Week. Can you let us know, like, what are some ideas Upland has for virtual Genesis Week? Is there anything different we can expect? I remember at the live Genesis Weeks, even though it was still on YouTube, but getting to see like Too Stupid and TML interview different staff members and Dirk and Edon, and that was always really really cool. So yeah, what kind of things can you let us know about the virtual?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to clarify. So, because I've seen some tweets on this, and sorry, or not tweets, but some posts about this. So, there's Genesis Week, which every year happens and is always online and in the game. And then and before Genesis Live existed, those were how we celebrated, the founding of Upland every single year. It's like Upland's birthday. We have extra events online. You do extra podcasts. There's some extra things to reveal. And that's Genesis Week. That is not changing. That is still there. The only thing that's changing is at our end of the week party, which is Genesis Live, is going away. So Genesis Week is happening, and just like in years past, it will be a ton of events, a ton of prizes. Usually our biggest prizes of the year go out during Genesis Week. We're tossing around ideas on, what additional things we could have. How could we get the community more involved this year? So any ideas, throw them our way, but we're in process of planning. It will be like past Genesis Weeks, where there will be a variety of stuff happening every single day, both in the app, on community members' shows, interviews, reveals, videos, and again, some of the biggest prizes of the year for sure. But
Nice.
I don't want there to be a misconception that there's some sort of digital event that you pay for to go to. There is not. It is Genesis Week, which is week long, as it always is, online in the game. That's how it's working.
Would they ever
Awesome.
consider doing something where maybe it was like for Genesis Week, maybe doing meetups in different parts of the world? Like maybe doing a
Yeah,
meetup on the
absolutely. It
East
actually has
Coast,
something that's been
London.
tossed around. It's actually been something that's been tossed around, and actually something that we tried 2 Genesis weeks ago, or Genesis Lives. We actually had a event live in Vegas simultaneously with an event live in Berlin, where we partnered with another I forget who it was. There was another project that was in Berlin that we were partnered with. And so we said, hey, why don't we do like this co event? And it worked out pretty successful for that. There's a lot of work in coordinating that for sure. But yeah, absolutely. It was a success by all measures when we did it with Berlin. And it's definitely something that we would be willing to do and have looked at before.
Nice.
I think I would love to hear like during Genesis Week. I'd like to hear like from members of the Upland team, and maybe have some special podcasts or interviews or something like that. I think that would be really good. And then I don't know. Another question actually we had was like Uplands. Is that a good opportunity to? Because we can reach more people digitally than in person. Is that a good time to do a marketing campaign with Genesis Week and stuff like that? Do you guys have anything in mind like that?
Yeah. Again, this is something that we've done in the past, and something that actually you don't see behind the scenes. But like the minute you kick off, even with a Genesis Live, there's basically one person or two people who their entire job becomes getting players to come to Genesis Live. Anybody that's put on an event knows that it's not as simple as, if you build it, they will come. That's not true. If we just announce an event and you don't focus on getting players there, no one's going to come. Like, you have to focus. It's there. It's, from the minute we announce, actually before we announce, to like a week before the event happens, there's a few people who wake up and go to bed only thinking about and working on getting as many players there as possible. So we have used it as marketing opportunities in the past, for sure. And that's something that absolutely we would look at doing, and even, may do this time around.
Nice.
Sim Squad Gaming, we are actually based out of the Hyde Park, LA neighborhood within Upland. I know there's a lot of confusion on Chicago.
Oh, whose neighborhood is better, your neighborhood or the vulgar Uplanders neighborhood? I know there's a debate.
Oh, don't get that debate going there. Where we have a rivalry with the Bulgarians over there, which
I heard
I heard
is a good place. I heard it's a good place.
debatable. We'll see. I heard last night that you'll be joining them on Friday, and so that was so for we only have an hour here today. If we don't cover anything, I'm sure Slack there will cover everything that we missed. But that's gonna be great as well. As far as which neighborhood is better, then we'll have to leave that up to the community to vote on that one, or have a battle. We could meet up and have a ninja battle, or
A second battle. We already had one. We
yeah.
did do the selling out.
Oh, that's right. We were
contest,
able to
that's
mint
right.
out Hyde Park. Yeah, before they locked it down. So that was pretty cool. Well, so that covers G Week, the live and the virtual. Anything else on that, SC? I'd like to jump into not the whole roadmap. I don't think we have time for that, but at least some of the highlights.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. I'm looking forward to getting into some of the roadmap. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, just in closing for myself, can I just say thank you to everybody for your feedback, and we appreciate the constructive feedback, especially, and thank you for your passion and your dedication to everyone who has come to Genesis Live in the past and will come in the future. Again, we're just as disappointed as you guys, and we're very much looking forward to Genesis Live continuing going forward.
Well, thank you for addressing it. Thanks for answering the tough questions. And the ninjas are, we always try to stay as positive as possible, and we run our own businesses, and we have had situations, similar to this, and we understand, and so onward and upward, and staying positive. So, jumping into the roadmap. Let's see, tons of exciting stuff. Let's see. Let's start with Q2 roadmap. You know what? Let's just jump right into totems and protem and life. That
Sure.
was I did not. I did. Let's jump right in. I did not expect this actually this soon personally, so I was pretty thrilled to see this. Um, yeah. So we have any. Do you want to start there? Give maybe
Yeah,
your
so
thoughts on that.
interesting. It is a big announcement. It's an exciting announcement. So normally in a Genesis Live situation, this is the type of announcement that we would save for Genesis Live, because you need that big in-person pop moment, something new to show off and exciting. And this is one of the consequences of being able to refocus this year without having that Genesis Live. And it's a give and take, but one of the benefits is being able to unveil stuff when we're ready to unveil them. And that is life coming to Upland. I think it's super exciting. One of the things that I find most exciting, if you haven't read it, make sure you go read all the details there. So a few things. We started Totems with this idea of it's a beta for us to study and learn how the community interacts with totems. How do they feed this representation of life? And then, totems obviously feed you back protem. We have 3 more cycles of that and then that will stop. But the value of totems will not stop, and this is something that I think is really exciting. Uh, Totems will remain, and they'll remain valuable. You'll be able to open up a new type of meta venture. Anybody will be able to open it up, called nurseries. However, only nurseries with a totem on the property will have the ability for players. So, for instance, SC Kicker could go to KO Ninjas meta venture and could spend some sparklet on their own and be able to generate a random seed legit. Now, seed legits will be completely random. They'll represent seeds that you can then plant on your property. Some seeds will be rarer than other seeds. There won't be total mints to seeds. They'll be, think of like essential legits where they're unlimited. But they will be rare in the respect that let's use the example of a palm tree. Just for instance, this is not finalized in any way. I'm just using this as an example. So let's use the example of a palm tree in Miami, let's say. So you can only get palm trees, for instance, in Miami or LA from Meta Ventures there. I go and I spend some sparklet. And when I spend sparklet, that means like it leaves my account and is gone. So you're essentially burning sparklet. You're not really burning it because it's just going to go to a wallet essentially. But you'll spend sparklet, you'll get a seed legit. There will be a ton of, let's say, roses are really common. Your chances of getting a rose will be really high, or a variation of a rose seed. Your chances of getting a palm tree will be much, much lower. And so palm tree, there'll be rarity in that aspect. You can run those unlimited amounts of time. You can go do that as much as you want. The meta ventures with these totems, the owners will be compensated or rewarded for players who go and spend their sparklet to generate those seed legits. And then the meta ventures themselves that anyone can run will be a place to swap, buy, sell, and trade seeds. So I love that part of the life update. The other part that I really like about the life update is it's not just a plant it and leave it and it's good for forever. You will plant your let's use palm tree. You'll plant your palm tree. It will start as a seed or a sapling in the ground. Once you plant it, it will be permanent. So think of like a building on your property. If I have a property and I sell my property to SC Kicker, it has a building on it. It comes with that building. If I have a property now and it has a bunch of palm trees on it, those are permanent. They're not map assets where you can move them around. So they're permanent in the same way that building structures will be permanent. But the cool part here is SC Kicker plants a palm tree on his property. It's a seedling. So you imagine just like a little small sapling. Maybe there's like a leaf that's represented there by it. He feeds it for a certain amount of time. Maybe it's seasonal. I don't think that's been, I don't know the details on that yet. But let's say it's seasonal. You feed it for an entire season. Next season, all of a sudden that palm tree now is like a mid-size palm tree, not yet fully grown. You continue to feed it. And the feed functionality will be on your profile and it will be global. So all you have to do is spend Protum to maintain your plants at regular intervals, let's say once a week, for instance. Again, that's not, don't quote me on that detail. I don't know. I'm just giving you an example here. But you'll go into your profile, feed all my plants, boom, spend some Protem. All your plants are fed. Now there will be a very rare chance that even if you feed your plants, some of them may die. That's just like the real world. We're really trying to simulate that. It will be rare, it will be small, but there is that chance. However, if you do not feed your plants, let's say we go 3 seasons, SC Kicker now has this full blossomed, beautiful palm tree that's huge, and then he stops feeding. The next season, it will be represented on the map as a dead palm tree on his property. And then it will go away. So the growth and evolution of life and plants is mind-boggling and is taking us to this next level of property development. And you can see how this really sets up going forward more life, let's say pets in Upland. You can see how this will set that up.
Mhm.
You can also see how, for instance, let's say apple trees or vegetable trees. We're not starting with those, absolutely not. But where not only do you have to feed them, but now you have to go and collect the apples or the vegetables that you've planted and grown. And now there's a new meta venture called a grocery store, and you need those grocery stores to feed your pets. And so you can see this is the beginning of this really in-depth evolution of Upland into just I think a more deeper, more complex metaverse and property trading game.
So the Protum gets spent, and it leaves your wallet, correct? And where does that
Correct.
go?
Yes. Protem. I don't know the details. I think Protem technically gets burned. Sparklet will go to another wallet that's like permanently. Here's where all the Sparklet goes that you spend.
And is there going to be like in-game like challenges to earn Protum, or how will that work? Is it
Yeah.
purchased?
So there'll be Protum will drop as rewards. Obviously, you'll be able to get Protum for the store. For Totem owners, remember the next 3 seasons. If you're a Totem owner, I think there's three seasons left. We said 5. There's at least 3 seasons, by the way. We may decide to do more seasons, but you can earn Protem by feeding your totems. So you're going to want to make sure you feed them, earn them, and earn as much Protem as possible.
Okay.
So there will be opportunities to earn more Protum.
There will be opportunities.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, there will be opportunities to earn more Protum, specifically, or especially rather, during at least the next 3 seasons from totems.
Okay.
Gotcha. And then I might have missed it as you were going through that. The nursery owners,
Yes.
and what was their incentive, or how are they compensated if they're selling the seeds?
Yeah, so we haven't yet shared details on that. That
Okay,
is to come. So they will be
okay,
compensated in some way. Absolutely. It's just what does that look like and how does that work exactly that we've not detailed out. That will come when obviously it drops.
gotcha. Okay,
Cool.
so TBD on that one. Nice. Well, there's still so many questions there. That I think that's really exciting. I can't wait for it to start to drop, and yeah, when you start thinking about long term what that could turn into, that's just it is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's easily the thing I'm personally most excited for from this current roadmap.
Now, the stuff that we grow, in like terms of trees and stuff, palm trees, like you mentioned, are those only able to be grown in certain areas of upland, kind of like it is in real life?
Uh, that I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure on that question. I know what's being discussed is that you can only get them in certain areas.
Mhm.
So I don't know how that will work. To be honest, I don't know if, for instance, if you plant a palm tree in Park City, when winter comes, it's going to die. So I would imagine there are limits there, though. I know for sure, though, that where you can spawn them will be specific. The examples we used actually was Park City, Tahoe for pine trees, for instance.
Mhm.
LA, I would imagine Porto, for instance, and Miami, is where palm trees could be. I think those are the most easily, but you can imagine, I mean, there's so much in variety there. And then even within, for instance, even within palm trees, there's going to be a ton of different variations. And so you may get a palm tree that looks super, super unique and is super, super unique compared to everyone else. And it's limitless, really. It's really exciting.
Pretty cool.
Um, Tons of stuff on Protum and Totems. I think we'll try to keep going forward. We got about 15 minutes left. Um, unless there's anything else you wanted to address there. But all right, so treasure hunting. I know a lot of people are looking at the treasure hunting updates. I think that was a large one. So looks like some making it a little more difficult or so, or what's kind of some things you can give us about the treasure hunting?
Yeah, basically it's just being completely overhauled. So it's needed to be overhauled for a while now and has been worked on the back end for a while. One of the things is the way that the arrows function has been the same since it first dropped. Before even I was at Upland. So like in year one of Upland, for instance, it's remained largely the same. So the way that the arrows function will be a little bit different. It won't be as straightforward. It will actually be more it will be indeed be more difficult. The arrows won't just move, they won't just blink for like how far you are. They will also give you, it could be this way or it could be this way, so you'll have to like make this decision as well. There'll be a little bit more movement there in the arrows. Really the biggest thing for treasure hunting though is we have and are implementing a ton of, what's a good way to say this? A ton of anti-cheat systems. There are a handful of players who have really exploited treasure hunting, and that's, and who are largely due to some of the nerfs that have come to treasure hunting. And really, until we get rid of those, we can never focus on making them a part of seasonal events. Those systems, to my understanding, are very close to being done. And when they're done, we will then be able to focus on, you can imagine a few times a season or even a season, a week-long event of different style of treasure hunting stuff that we can then focus on with attached prizes and leaderboards and the whole shot. So treasure hunting is just getting a complete overhaul. And I think it's almost, I've seen some samples of the video of how it all works, and it's pretty close to there. It's going to drop, and I think when it drops, it will be step one to really bringing treasure hunting back for those who love treasure hunting. So I'm it's going to be exciting. I actually started to, before it all got nerfed, I started to build my own web in Brooklyn, and then it got nerfed, and and then it got taken away from desktop. Actually, was the big one, and I was like,
Hmm.
shoot,
That
now I
was tough.
can't. Yeah, now I can't do this. I'm not learning it on the phone. I'm old. I got to do it on the desktop. So yeah, the big thing is the back end systems that will prevent any exploitation from happening. That will then enable us to focus on it as a regular contest.
Dizzy, I just had the same thought. Make treasure hunting great again. That's that was funny. So kind of the same question in chat here. Will there be any different rewards?
Yeah, there
Within treasure
definitely
hunting.
could be. Again, until we solve the exploitation, we can't do that, or rather, have not been able to do that. But yeah, absolutely, that's something that I know is being discussed. It will be a rollout where um treasure hunting drops. Hey, there's this new thing. Go check it out. We'll analyze it, take a look. We'll do some contests around it, analyze, take a look, make some tweaks, and then go from there. So it definitely won't be something that, hey, we're dropping treasure hunting today. All the new systems are out. And tomorrow, guess what? You may have a chance of getting a block explorer. Like, it definitely won't be something like that. It's going to be iterative, and it will take time because we got to make sure that it's foolproof.
That's funny. So first of all, I really like the idea of a seasonal challenge with the treasure hunting. I treasure hunted a lot in the beginning of my upland journey, and I'm really glad I did that. It really kind of got the spark going. I did it for the spark. And but again, since kind of the nerfs and stuff, I've not treasure hunted in quite a while, unless for the gamified earnings. And so a challenge with a prize would definitely get me treasure hunting again. Or if you said, there's 100 block explorers, randomly dropped for this season, you know, that you might get through treasure hunting. Man, I think I would definitely treasure hunt trying to get one of those rare block explorers or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think there's some really cool things like that.
Yeah, one of the other things, maybe, I mean, there's a bunch of lore legits coming out where you'll have to collect them, and then you'll be able to burn them and get even better lore legits and stuff like that. So that also might be tied. You might, there might be one that you can only get through treasure hunting, or stuff like that. So absolutely, treasure hunting overall, it's much overdue, and it's very very excited. I know the team's very excited about it.
All right, I had someone that
Nice.
sent a question into regarding planes. And I know this was kind of discussed in quarter one, I believe. Do you know, or can you confirm if the hangars are indeed going to be meta ventures?
Gosh, off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't want to say I think so. or not. I honestly, I would have to go. I would have to go look that up. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, to be perfectly honest.
And then I think the second part of that question was based around like utility for the planes. Do you know what the future utility is for the planes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's personal air travel. It's even, I know some of the planes come with more seats. The higher up planes, especially. So if you're a chief executive, for instance, you have a plane with, I don't know, 6 seats or 12 seats. I think it's like a business liner. So even being able to charter a private plane service is something that I know is on the very long term road plan there.
Will you be able to ship map assets as well from place to place, or how will that work long term?
I don't know with private planes if that's how it work. I'm unsure. I don't know with aircraft. I know how. I mean, I know, for instance, like semi truck transportation. It has been discussed and planned on. I don't know. I don't know if the same applies to planes.
Maybe we could address the. It looks like the 3D spaces, the cafes have been put on the back burner just a little bit. I know
Correct.
SC Kicker and I have. I was fortunate enough to get one in Hyde Park. We've had some fun getting in there. We've talked about use cases for it and haven't found a great one yet, but we are still excited about it. But maybe kind of address putting that on the back burner. What are the thoughts
Yeah, I
there?
think that's the key right there. What is the use case? So even in we've also taken a look at other meta ventures where, or not meta ventures, other metaverses or in other games where they've attempted to do 3D spaces, and it's the use case. Like everybody likes the idea of it. We love the idea of it. Being able to get in and do your own. It's akin to, I think, player housing, for instance, in like an MMO, where you can go in and decorate and show off your own stuff. Uh, and it's still, 3D spaces are absolutely still a big focus of ours. We're taking a step back and pausing because just to maintain 3D spaces on the back end is a big lift and a big resource hog. We've taken a look at the numbers. Almost nobody is utilizing 3D spaces at this point, and there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, like you said, Co Ninja, the use case there I just don't think has been fully realized. And number two, it may be a technical issue where, um, for instance, I mean, just jumping into our spaces, we're very limited to how many people can go in to a space at one time. How do we solve that? How do we make it the ease of use better to where anyone can jump in at any time? And so we're putting 3D spaces on pause, even maintaining them on pause while we research all those things, take a look at the technology, and come up with a legitimate use case that is scalable. I think that's the hard part. Because yeah, when you have a 3D space, like I'll give an example. I think the City Plaza is fantastic. I think it's really cool to go through and learn about Upland. I think it's really cool to have a big screen where you can host events there and big events there. But is that better than what we're doing now? And I think that's the tricky thing. So yes, you could go in and stream to a cafe, but it's honestly easier and more convenient for me to just jump onto a YouTube live or Twitter live stream and do it that way. Yes, I can go in and chat in a 3D space in a cafe, but it's honestly just easier and more convenient for players to utilize the Discord chat or to utilize Discord voice. And so you can see, I don't think anybody has really fully figured out 3D spaces uh, in any game. Even Fortnite introduced 3D spaces, and it was a failure. I mean, not a failure, but it really didn't take off on Fortnite, and they're one of the largest games in the world. So really, I think it's this idea that when it takes off, it will take off in a big way. It's figuring it out how to implement it correctly, and I think everybody's exploring how to do that.
Yeah, that's a great
One
point.
of
And I
the
know me and KO Ninja talked at length about, what are we going to do with the cafe? We had a lot of really cool ideas. We've talked to the representatives over at Nowhere, to see how to do it. And it just seems like it is a little ways off, in my opinion. And like you said, just the ease of being able to do what we're doing now, going to YouTube or Twitch. I feel like you go to the cafe and it's like you're jumping through three hoops to get back to where we are right now.
Yeah, well, not only that, but if it was, even if it was seamless
Hmm.
and there was no hoops, what's the like what's the incentive?
Right.
What's the purpose? Like in an MMO, for instance, you even in an MMO, you there are player areas. So let's use Destiny as an example. There's the tower in Destiny, for those of you that don't know Destiny, and it's the social space for Destiny. but really you're only in that social space to turn in your items, to upgrade your items, and then you leave and you go and you actually do the game of Destiny with your friends in siloed off instances. So you're not in the social hangout space. I'm using Destiny as an example, but you can insert game here, like you do in, or like I think is envisioned for 3D spaces. So how do you solve for that? How do you get people to want to be in a 3D space just for the 3D space itself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And time will tell.
Um, RDP had a really good point there. If racing gets big enough, perhaps gathering in 3D spaces to watch the races or something like that. I think that could be pretty cool because racing is growing. I was involved in racing in the very beginning, and then actually I kind of dropped out of it. Got I don't know, wasn't as interested in it. And then with all these new updates and everything, and the what do you burn for your boosts and stuff?
Oh,
Oh
power
goodness,
ups, power
Power
ups.
ups. Yeah.
power ups. Thank you. All these different things has gotten me re-energized with racing again. I was actually doing some races today before the stream, and it's been a lot of fun. So I think racing could definitely grow to a big thing. It's already getting pretty large. So um, another quick thing here, car rentals that was put on the back burner. I was pretty excited that I have a little fleet of cars, but yeah, maybe speak on that real quick.
Yeah, for us to drop car rentals right now, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. Like what? Because what? I don't think yet we've fully developed out the infrastructure for utilizing cars for travel. And when you look at it, we also implemented, or we're going to be implementing here in this next quarter, simplified travel. And that was a big part of the roadmap as well. So how simplified travel works, for those of you that have not yet read the roadmap, is I'll be able to say, hey, I'm in Brooklyn, I want to go to LA. How do I do that? It will map it out for me. I'll hit one button and I'll travel there. The difficult part is, and this is just a beta, this is a test while we're, to see how players interact with it. Is it helpful? Is it useful? Is it a good thing? I think it is. I think it's definitely a quality of life feature, particularly in those East Coast hubs. It is so frustrating when you get stuck and you're like, I'm trying to get to the airport. It's right there, but I can't go straight to it because it's in a different hub. This will solve for that. If we were to drop car racing, or not car racing, car rental right now, there's just not a use case for it yet. And I think one of the things that you can see in our shift over the last two roadmaps is us moving to more relevant use cases in our drops right now. Like instead of dropping something that maybe 2 or 3 years out and dropping a segment of it, we need to drop something that has immediate, not immediate, but more immediate usability and a case study that can prove what it's there for. So we're taking a look at car travel, how it works. Car rental is something that is definitely still coming. It's still on the roadmap. That's not going away. It's just how does this car travel system work? How is it function within this new simple travel system to make it so that car rental is a real thing. It's a solid business. Here's how you should here's how you should run it.
I'm
Nice.
personally excited about the simplified travel.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be a good thing overall, personally.
Yeah, I think where it's
Run.
biggest is for new players. Like if new player jumps in, that's a real pain sticking point for new players, especially like I said, if you get stuck on that East Coast in those East Coast New York hubs, like you're gonna throw your controller if we had
Yes.
controller.
Yes, definitely. Running short on time. Lots of questions coming in chat, and trying to keep it focused on the roadmap. Um, there was a good question. It wasn't on the roadmap
Yeah, and we
from.
can extend. I've got another 15 minutes or so if you guys want to until my next meeting. So we are good on time.
Okay,
I
that
can
sounds
I can
great.
hang for
Maybe.
another 15 KO. I'm good.
Okay, fantastic. There was
Can we talk about
a
can
question.
we talk about scavenger hunts? Actually, that was on my list of like most favorite, or not most favorite, things that I'm most personally excited about, and that's scavenger hunts. Did you guys ever
Absolutely.
participate in scavenger hunts way back when we used to have them in the game?
I did. Yeah, early on, I think they did the one with I think it was in like the mob stuff going on, and
Oh
you
yeah,
had to
yeah,
go to
yeah. And
different
then
places.
Yeah. So those were, I think the mob one was a tour though.
Oh, that was a
Uh,
tour. That's right. Yeah.
yeah. So tours also, this will have implications, the scavenger hunt, for how tours work in the future. I think tours are really valuable. For those of you that don't know, you may be new to the game. Tours, we used to do regular tours where you'd go through a city and it would introduce you to different parts of the city and tell you a little about the history. And it did cost UPIX to register, but you got all of your UPIX back as you did and completed the event. So it was essentially free. Sometimes you would get block explorers for completing them and stuff like that. Scavenger hunts were, hey, here's a clue, and then it would ask you to go to a property, or not. You'd have to figure out where to go based on that clue. Why did scavenger hunts go away? Because uh, it became hard to scale them. It was easy to do when there's 100 players in Discord and you could drop the hints and players have to work together. Then, when we thought we had figured out scalability, for instance, like, okay, we could drop hints again and do this. Then a thing called AI was invented. And so you can imagine if you drop a clue now, drop any riddle, and you just take it to AI and they give you the answer in 2 seconds. So there's no way to do riddles. So scavenger hunts are coming in a way that solves both of those. And it's going to be a ton of fun. The first one that we drop will be more simple because we're going to be using it as a test. So everybody should be able to complete it pretty simple. But I can't unveil much about it. Stay tuned. There will be an announcement soon. There will be a scavenger hunt this season for sure. And think of GeoGuessr. Like, it will be like a GeoGuessr game, but imagine that inside of Upland, and that's the new scavenger hunt. It's very exciting. It opens up. It fits into properties really well. It fits into property discovery. It fits into map assets, decorations, building structures. It fits into Google Maps really well. Scavenger hunts is going to be a lot of fun and will be a regular activity that happens season in and season out in Upland.
Awesome. Looking
That
forward to that.
yeah, that is exciting. Yeah, I never did participate in those, so I'm looking forward to being able to do that. I think that's going to be. Um, Now, is it like a race? Like there's only a certain number of winners, or if you just complete it, everyone that completes it gets rewarded? What do you know how that will be structured?
Yeah, so it will be different depending on the scavenger hunt. So some will be timed, first come, first serve, first one to do it wins. Some will be everybody that completes gets a prize. Some will be in one city. Some will be going across multiple cities. Some will be going across the entire world. So you can see, like, it really opens us up to what you're able to do. So if you remember the road trip challenge, this came as an evolution to the road trip challenge, or the cannonball run, where you had to go from point A to point B. Okay. And you had to do stuff within each of those cities in order to count towards your race. Like, I had to visit a MetaVenture or buy something from a MetaVenture in this specific city as I'm going on my way from Miami to LA or Miami to Las Vegas. Uh, Scavenger hunts enable us to do that in a much more interactive, engaging, and in-game way, that I think opens up a lot. And I think it's just going to be a ton of fun. It's on my top favorites. It's probably number 2 under Life for me, honestly.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we have a ton of questions coming in chat, and I know we are not going to be able to get to all of them, obviously, with the time we have. So, once we finish today, if you guys want to drop those questions into the chat, we could try to get the answers for you on those. And then, if not, you can always venture over to the Vulgar Uplanders on Friday, maybe get some other answers that we didn't cover today, if you have to. I know it's not as nice an environment, but if you have to go there, you can do that.
Yeah, you're brave, X1, for going over there. It's a little sketchy.
Yeah, I know. I had to think about it. It took me a few days to think about it, and I
I'm
thought, oh,
just
I got to
letting
go to the
anybody.
ninjas. They got to show me some self-defense moves before I go over into that crowd.
So I saw this question pop up a couple times, so I'll cover it. What's going on with the partnership with Sandbox and Upland? Is there
Yeah,
any?
yeah, absolutely. In fact, we had a meeting with Sandbox a week ago, so stay tuned. Stuff is coming. They've just implemented seasons, copying us, I think, a little bit, but no, just kidding. There will be something coming, I think, within the next well, I don't want to put a time frame on it, but there's something coming this year. Stay tuned. And then we're, working on becoming more, um, more cross promotion, more cross, uh, in-game events type of deal that happens. So stay tuned. We will have news on that. It may take a season or two to get here. We're working with them on stuff, but stay tuned.
Are boats in the roadmap? Something I had asked about a while back. I know we saw that pop up too. I've got some
Yeah,
property that
boats are absolutely on the long-term roadmap
awesome.
for sure. Water is really interesting in Upland because we have it on the map. How does it become utilized? You could see, for instance, one day, for instance, maybe, and this is entirely hypothetical. Do not quote me on this. But one day, perhaps, maybe plants next to water receive some sort of benefit or boost, or I mean, and you could see lots of stuff with that now playing a place with life as life comes into Upland. It's really exciting to see, how does water work now within Upland? I think is super cool to think about.
You could do a hydroplane racing.
Oh yeah.
That'd
Oh
be so
dude.
cool.
Yeah. What was that? Remember that game was like Wave Runner 64 on the Nintendo 64. It was huge. I think it was like
Oh yeah,
Wave Runner. I don't even remember it.
yeah.
I played it all the time. It was awesome.
Oh man. Can you maybe give us a teaser as to maybe some of the quality of life functions that are coming the quickest? Is there anything that you can any information you can divulge in that area? I know some people are excited about some more. There's been some great ones. Definitely some more wanted from the community. But yeah, so
Yeah,
anything you
absolutely. I
can
mean,
drop there?
filters is something that is being focused on. In-game filters. We've added some filters to, for instance, the asset wallet, to, for instance, the find nearby wallet. I know that something. I know that something that is being discussed is sometimes we're in a situation, for instance, where a player posts a listing and then that listing remains up for 2 or 3 years, but the market has completely evolved from when that original listing was there. So what has been and is being explored and discussed is stuff like maybe there's, if you've not been active in the last X amount of time, let's say 3 months, maybe those listings automatically get removed from you to ensure that every listing on there is from a player who is currently active in the game. This would you can imagine a situation where this solves the issue of a jailed player, where there are properties there that bring down the floor or misrepresent the floor of a market as a result. That's something that's being discussed. I don't know how far off something like that is, but you can see just how we're thinking about the different quality of life features. That same kind of thought is going into the asset wallet. How's that divided up? Even the quick menu there, when you pull up the quick menu, there's stuff there that was once needed that maybe now we can combine or consolidate and make that a lot more cleaner. Yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff being discussed, talked about, and worked on.
Awesome.
Would you say that for me personally, map asset organization and movement is
Mm.
probably the most frustrating. Um, so any thoughts on that? And if the answer's later down the road, that's fine too. But anything there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely being discussed. I think as far as map assets are concerned, I think what you're seeing as kind of a first step to this was in the roadmap
Mhm.
that we've not talked about, but that is this ability to purchase from any meta venture, excuse me, inside of Upland. As long as you have a property in that city, you'll be able to purchase. You won't have to travel there. I think that removes a lot of the friction that existed before. Even myself, I'm like, okay, I just want to. Someone has offered me this cool map asset that I've seen on Twitter. I said I want it. They've reserved it for me. I've got the UPX to go buy it. And then it's like, oh, dude, I got to travel there, or I'll just wait. I don't have time today. And then you forget about it and you can't go. If you're able to just pick it up, um, from anywhere, I think that removes a lot of the frustration. But you can see how perhaps as that comes to fruition, now we can focus on, okay, now that we've figured out that pain point, how do we now figure out how do you better organize your map assets? Is there, for instance, something you could do with, I want to take all of my I don't know, slides that I have and apply them to this one property in bulk. Maybe there's something there like that you can do. It is being discussed, and it is being worked on in the long term for sure.
That and even be able to search your map assets and for some people, block explorers, I know they've got hundreds or even thousands of block explorers, and being able to type in, if you know the name of it, and then it pops up, that would be,
Yeah, or even
I
I think in our roadmap, Q1, which it was in this as well. It is something that we're working on the back end. The similar NFT screen, so you'll be able to click on. I have this specific block explorer. I want to see all the similar ones to it, and then it shows it. You can see how that extends to your wallet as well.
and the purchasing of assets without having to be there, I think, is awesome for the economy.
That's
That
huge.
happens to me. That happens to me all the time. If it's not on the West Coast, I usually don't travel to go get it. So, I think the economy for items and block explorers will drastically increase. Um, yep, yep. Check. So,
Yeah, I've got a list of stuff I
um,
got to go to pick up in a bunch of different places right now.
shoot, man, we actually covered a lot more than I thought we were
We
going to be
did.
able to uh today, which is just fantastic. Awesome. Any other fun little tidbits you can drop? Anything fun, exciting? I know you might need to save something for the vulgar show. But the
No, not really. Other than I think life is again. I think it's the most exciting. I think it's. I'm trying to think back. I think it's probably the biggest change. Cars maybe were a huge change. I think this has the potential to be the biggest addition to Upland that we've seen, just as far as what is all involved, what it introduces, new gameplay mechanics, new abilities to further add value to your property, further add value to your portfolio as an Uplander, and really add uniqueness and personality to those things as well. I think life is I could not speak more highly of life. I'm super excited about it.
I thought the roadmap was fantastic. I'm loving the future of Upland, and um, the ninjas here. We're always in support, and um, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy every facet of it. I enjoy seeing the possibilities, and also I feel like the community is, at least the people we surround ourselves with, are kind of partnered with Upland and helping, like these 3D spaces, where I feel like the community is also trying to find ways to utilize it, and um, the assets, going from seeing, I think the first map assets in game, I think, was Ben 68 and More Cheese, and I think they had some of the first ones, and I remember just thinking that was incredible. I could be wrong on that, but I think that was right. Um, and then to now seeing just all the creativity and thousands of assets and carts being made. uh, I mean, I just think I've just never been a part of anything like it, to be honest. So it's been super cool.
Yeah, again, a lot of people think that when we're saying this, it's like a marketing promo, and to a certain extent it is, but it's also reality. Like what is happening in Upland, quite literally, is not happening in any other Web3 game at the scale or the level or with the amount of members of the community that it is happening in Upland. In fact, on the map asset stuff, or just on the creator stuff, the UGC stuff, there's a chart. I think we posted it. If we didn't post it, we need to post it. Go search on our Twitter account, but there's a chart, and you can see when we started, it was like a few hundred submissions and approvals, and then it just always went up. It has gone up exponentially. In fact, I believe through the first 3 months of 2025, we surpassed the entire amount of 2024. Like it's that kind of exponential growth. And you're not talking 2024 was not like a low number. It's not like there was 5. There was thousands
Yeah.
per month coming of map assets. So I think AI has a lot to do with that. Like we're in this moment where it's never been easier to get help and assistance and learning in how to create. And that does benefit a platform like Upland. And it's very exciting to see what players are creating. I love the cart designs that are coming out. Cart designs are some of my favorites. So shout out to everybody who's doing that. I love the structure ornaments that are coming. In fact, one of my favorite ones, and forgive me, I forget who posted this. Maybe it was Charles FR. I forgive me if I got it wrong, but There's like a Western theme that he's doing. There's a sheriff shop. You can turn your home into a sheriff's. Like, it's so cool what players are doing and theming them. So very, very excited about all that. And then the other thing that I'm super excited about everything. That sounds lame, but the other thing that I really like as well is I do love this introduction, and we haven't talked about it, of Sparklet Wars. And I know it gets competitive, and I know that players sometimes don't, that competitiveness or their interaction with other players may rub them the wrong way. But this just sets up this regular interaction, this regular strategy event in between seasons that's only going to improve over time, that is only going to enable properties and assets to be utilized and given functionality within that event over time. That is super exciting. Just seeing how players evolved from season 1 to season 2, and now how they're evolved from season 2 to season 3, and how the Upland side of things is going to involve, whether that's with new map assets or events or factions, or is also really exciting. We're at a really good place. It's a really exciting time to be an Uplander. If you've been around for a while, it's part of a normal game's evolution. For instance, when you first start out with like a World of Warcraft, you first jump in and you're like, oh, dude, this is awesome. I love it. Everything is new and fresh to you. You max level cap, you do some raids, and then you're like, well, there's nothing else for me to do. What do I do now? It's just the natural evolution of games. And the way to solve that is by adding new functions and features and abilities. And I think Sparklet Wars is a big part of that, is adding community ways for communities to connect with each other. So it's exciting. I'm super excited.
Well, I think
I
Upland's got a
I
lot of really great stuff going on. I've been excited about the changes within the racing alone. I think Kale mentioned we were doing a lot of racing early on and kind of got out of it for a little bit, but it's become a lot more fun. I like the changes, even to the kart racing. Kart racing, doing that originally, you would race the carts, and it was like watching paint dry. And now it's exciting. There's the speed boosts, and there's just a lot more incorporated that's making it so much more fun, for players to experience. And going forward, what is Upland doing to bring in more players to experience all this cool stuff? And this is a double-sided question, I guess, because it's not only what is Upland doing, but also as a community, us as players, what are we doing to help these players engage and have fun as well? But from the Upland side, what are you guys doing to bring those players in?
I'll take that backwards. I think the community is doing a fantastic job. So, for instance, let's take racing as an example. Just having communities dedicated to racing and making it a passion, and holding, setting up their own racing events and stuff like that is huge. So that when someone comes in brand new to Upland for the first time, and but they discover racing, oh, there's this whole community built up around racing. Oh, there's this whole community built up around creating and creators, and how do I get help with that? And oh, I do want to create these assets. Or maybe I'm just interested only in the property trading aspect. I mean, there's a ton of nodes and neighborhoods, and there's a ton of people that just want to flip properties all day long. I think the key here is not everything is going to be for everyone, but there is something for everyone in Upland. And that is the core of what is a metaverse, and what gets you to interact there with Upland. As far as what is Upland doing, I think you've seen some of those. We're really trying to think outside the box, and are really pushing uh, other things forward, and or rather, other, what's the word I'm looking for? We're really pushing things forward in a way that nobody else has done. So an example of that is X Stacks. We're the first game on X on Twitter to utilize the social features of X and Twitter that go directly into X Stacks. And that's a top of funnel idea then, and then people funnel down into Upland and get introduced to Spark and Sparklet and UpX, and stuff like that. So that's just one example. I think putting Sparklet out there on the exchange is another example. Now all of a sudden there's potential for people on base to notice Sparklet. Oh, what is Sparklet? What is Upland? What is this? It's really just doing things to get Upland's name out there, while also continuing to improve the core functionality that is Upland, the core gameplay of Upland, and add and build on top of that. So you're going to see more of those types of things coming. Again, I think life is going to be a big part of that focus, and big part of that push going forward as well.
Awesome.
Well, X1, I want to respect your time, and I know we got to get going as well. This has been just fantastic. Really appreciate your time today, taking time out of your busy schedule, addressing some tough questions, some fun questions, and it's just been great. It's been awesome to chat with you, and get to hang out a little bit. So, SC, anything to wrap up with, or X1, any final words?
Same thing from my side. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we've been looking to do this for a long time, and the timing worked out great. And this was a perfect time, you know, to really get all these questions laid out. And we got Q2 announcements and so much exciting stuff coming. And for anybody that's just joining us for the first time today, I saw a lot of new names in chat. Man, join us every Sunday. We're here every Sunday. We do all kinds of events. We do giveaways, we do races and have fun. So we're just two ninjas in the metaverse having fun, and we keep it pretty chill. So come join us on Sundays for sure.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for having you on. You guys, because you have like this middle of the day stream. So when I don't have meetings, I'll have you guys up as like background, and it's always fun listening to your perspective. And you always have very valuable feedback and constructive feedback. And so thank you for that. That's very much appreciated. And I was very excited to come on. I know the team is all watching. They're excited that, you know, hey, Hyde Park Ninjas, all right, those guys are cool. So in fact, I think, do we have Hyde Park Ninjas coffee at the office? I think at the
I
Upland
think you do,
office. Did you
Ninjava.
guys?
Yeah.
Ninjava. That's right. We do. That's up there. So everyone's really excited. So thank you very much for all you guys do. I just realized we forgot we are giving away 20,000 UPIX to players on the stream here. So I don't know if you guys have a way to do that. If not, what we can do, we'll go back through whoever showed up live chat and randomly select players. To get the 5 players, we'll get 20,000 UPIX. So huge shout out to the community, and thank you for joining. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and follow the ninjas.
All right, I guess we can do that. We'll have to do that after stream. We can pull up all that information, and we can do that giveaway on our Sunday stream. KO, what do you think?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
way
we'll do it.
nobody's
Perfect.
missed. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. So everybody tune in on Sunday to find out if you won the 20,000 UPIX, and huge shout out and thank you to the ninjas for hosting.
For sure. Well, we're going to be doing that at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, and we're going to do that live for you guys. So we won't even do it pre-recorded. We'll do it fully live, so everybody could be there and participate. So we'll thumb through all of the quote or the comments and everything. Again, once we finish up, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat after. We'll try to get as much of them answered as possible.
All right, everybody. I think that's a wrap.
All right. Well, KO, congrats on your beautiful decor on your wall. I'm excited to see that. And we will look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday for the stream. So everybody have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.